Hey there, welcome back to another video. Just like last time, my name is Nick. Got my notes right here like always. And with the men's and women's tournaments finishing up at the Olympics, I figured let's take a refresher video on everything that has happened. Shout out to the men's and women's US teams, both taking home gold for the first time ever in the same Olympics. That was amazing to see. Never thought I'd see the men's US team win a gold medal, so very happy. And they both beat Canada in the gold medal games in overtime. So that was just like the cherry on top. But let's take this video as a refresher to what has happened in the NHL. There's been some news. Let's take a look at the standings because it's been about a month since we've had NHL hockey. So the NHL will kick back off on Wednesday night. The PWHL will start play again on Thursday night. Artemi Panarin was traded to the Los Angeles Kings right before the Olympic break, so he has not made his debut, but I'm assuming he's going to make it on Wednesday night when the Kings play the Vegas Golden Knights once they kick back their season off from this break. Jeff Skinner, or while we're talking about, I was going to start on a different story, but while we're talking about the Kings, Kevin Fiala was injured during the Olympics. He's out for the remainder of the season, so that is a player that the Kings will not be getting back from this Olympics. Now let's talk about Jeff Skinner because he was released from the San Jose Sharks during the Olympic break. He had 32 games played for them this season. He had 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points. I'd imagine that a team making a playoff push might bring him in as a depth forward, bottom 6 guy, maybe even a 13th forward that's not dressing for every game. I could be wrong. I'd imagine that a team like Carolina might bring him in. They seem to be figuring out all their issues. Maybe with Florida falling out of the playoffs, they'll be able to make a run. Who knows? But I'd assume that a playoff team might bring him in. Could be totally off base on that. I don't really know. And Sidney Crosby did miss the last 2 games for Canada at the Olympics. It looked like a lower body injury, but I'm not sure. And that might be a big issue for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They seem to have a bit of a good season going. I don't think anybody expected them to be where they were in the standings. So, speaking of standings, I actually have some visual aids right here to help me because I don't feel like editing in the logos. We're going to look at the standings of every division. Starting off with the Metro, we have in first place the Carolina Hurricanes with a record of 36, 15, and 6. They have 78 points, leading the Metro. In second, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have a record of 29, 15, and 12 with 70 points in the standings. Then we got the New York Islanders with a record of 32, 21, and 5 and 69 points in the standings. Then we have the Columbus Blue Jackets with a record of 29, 20, and 7. They have 65 points. Followed by fifth place, Washington Capitals. 29, 23, and 7 is their record. They also have 65 points. Number 6, we have the Philadelphia Flyers, my favorite team, as you can tell by my hat and my sweatshirt. 25, 20, and 11 is their record. They have 61 points, followed by the guy that got the gold medal winning goal for the U.S., the New Jersey Devils. He's on this team. They have a record of 28, 27, and 2 with 58 points in the standings. And then rounding out the Metro Division, we have the New York Rangers with a record of 22, 29, and 6, and they have 50 points in the standings. Now we're going to look at the Atlantic Division, where the silver medal coach, John Cooper, is leading his team to a pretty good season. They're in first place with 37, 14, and 4 is their record. They have 78 points in the standings, followed by Montreal Canadiens with 32, 17, and 8 is their record. They have 72 points, followed by the Detroit Red Wings at third. They have a 33, 19, and 6 record. They also have 72 points. Next up, we got the Buffalo Sabres coming in at fourth. They're having a pretty good season, too. I kind of forgot about that because we haven't had NHL in a while. They have a record of 32, 19, and 6. They are 70 points in the standings, just 2 points behind the Red Wings. Next up in fifth, we got the Boston Bruins. They are 32, 20, and 5 with 69 points in the standings. In sixth, we got the Ottawa Senators. 28, 22, and 7 is their record, and they have 63 points in the standings, followed by their Ontario neighbors, the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs. At seventh, they have a record of 27, 21, and 9, also have 63 points in the standings. And rounding out the Atlantic, we have the Florida Panthers with a record of 29, 25, and 3 with 61 points in the standings. And the two wild card spots right now are being held by Buffalo and Boston. Buffalo has the number 1 wild card. Boston has the number 2. Now, let's take a look at the West, because I'm not just doing this for the East. Starting out with the Central, we have the best team in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche. They have a record of 37, 9, and 9, 83 points in the standings. Absolutely ridiculous. Number 2, Minnesota Wild. 34, 14, and 10 is their record. They have 78 points in the standings. Dallas coming in at third. They have a 34, 14, and 9 record, just one less overtime win. They have 77 points in the standings. Utah, the Mammoth, doing pretty good in their second season in Utah. They have a record of 30, 23, and 4, 64 points in the standings. Fifth, we have Nashville, who, if you remember from my prediction video, I said would be making it back to the playoffs. Not quite there yet, but there's still some games to be played, so we can see. 26, 24, and 7 is their record. They have 59 points in the standings for 5th place in the Central. Chicago Blackhawks coming in at 6th. They have a record of 22, 26, and 9 with 53 points in the standings. The Winnipeg Jets are coming in 7th. Connor Hellebuck and Kyle Connor, both on the gold medal roster. Winnipeg in 7th, though. 22, 26, and 8 is their record, 52 points in the standings, just one behind the Blackhawks. And rounding out the Central, if you've been paying attention, you know it's the St. Louis Blues with a record of 20, 28, and 9 for 49 points in the standings. And now the final division that I haven't done yet, the Pacific, where in first place, we have the Vegas Golden Knights. They have a 27, 16, and 14 record, 64 points in the standings, followed by the two-time reigning Western Conference champions. I guess that's how you could put it. The Edmonton Oilers, 28, 22, and 8. They have 64 points in the standings, followed by a surprise team. I don't think they've ever been this high in the standings before in their entire existence. Actually, they might have been. I know they made the playoffs their second year. The Seattle Kraken, 27, 20, and 9. They have 63 points in the standings. In fourth, we have the Anaheim Ducks, who have a 30, 23, and 3 record. They also have 63 points in the standings. And that's kind of where you're seeing that overtime point kind of take over. It's wild that the Anaheim Ducks have 30 wins. They're the only team in their division to have 30 wins, and they're in 4th place. Anyway, in 5th, we have the LA Kings, as I had previously mentioned them in this video. They have a record of 23, 19, and 14. They have 60 points in the standings, 14 overtime loss points. In 6th, we got the San Jose Sharks, 27, 24, and 4 is their record. They have 58 points in the standings. Coming in at 7th, we have the Calgary Flames with a record of 23, 27, and 6. They have 52 points in the standings. And then rounding out the Pacific, just like every other division, there has to be an 8th place team. Vancouver Canucks, come on down. 18, 33, and 6 is their record. I do believe that is the worst record in the NHL, and they have 42 points in the standings. The wild card spots right now are being held by Utah and Anaheim. The Mammoth have the first wild card spot in the West. Anaheim is holding on to that second, which again, crazy that they are the only team in their division with 30 wins, and they are 4th in their division and 2nd in the wild card. But to be fair, Utah also has 30 wins. So there you go, just a bit of a refresher for everybody. You might have forgot, I wasn't checking NHL standings or stats during this, so I figured what a good way to just kind of dip our toes back into the NHL season. Also, if you're wondering where I've been, I had to get a tooth pulled about halfway through the Olympics, so it really hurt to talk. Even right now, I feel my face kind of starting to hurt a bit. So if you made it this far, you might as well hit that subscribe button. If you do that, you're going to help me fund my hat addiction, which means you'll get to see your favorite team's hat on my head the next time I do a video on them. But until then, bye-bye.